Solomon, ultimately very defeated fan base today. Where did it go wrong? Was it from the start? Was it in-game? Were the players just not up for it? How do you break it down, mate?
For me, a big problem I've been seeing the last few games is we seem to start slow. First 10-15 minutes, Aston Villa were pretty much all over us. We had that one half chance with Bruno right at the start, but this problem seems to be happening quite often where we seem to be lackluster first 10-15 and then we can't get back in the game. But once we get a foothold, because we started so poorly, it's almost like 5 minutes of pressure and then 5 minutes of sitting back. So, I mean, for me personally, when you look at a team that's out there with Ronaldo, Pogba, Bruno, we've got to be beating that sort of team. And that falls, for me personally, that falls down to the manager. Not great tactics, and ultimately cost us in the end.
Would you have picked anyone else in the starting lineup today other than what we all expected? Are you waiting for Ollie now to start taking chances with this squad? Because we've got enough quality in it.
Well, to be honest, it's been a couple of years now where we've wanted certain players to play, such as Donny van der Beek in certain games, such as rotating the back line at certain times, Wan-Bissaka for certain games, who I thought, by the way, played well today, but Van der Beek should have played. We saw how well we played against West Ham. He seems to be confident, and although Fred played well, I think Van der Beek had to play, and I would have gone all out. I would have put Van der Beek in the 6 and Pogba next to him and Bruno in front, and just go after Villa, because, I mean, we heard what Ollie said a few months ago about the Stretford and sucking the ball in, but last 2 games, 180 minutes, no goals. And I wonder how many we didn't have many chances, but the chances that we did have were quite good chances. I think Greenwood had a great chance, Maguire header, but just not enough.
You mentioned creating chances there. 2 games against what I said were okay, decent teams at Old Trafford. You'd expect at least a goal. I mean, Ollie's talked about tactics, struggling to break teams down. Is that a concern of yours with that quality that we have got in our forward line, that he's even talking that way?
Yeah, it's a big problem. I mean, what I found quite interesting and quite damning was when the fans kept on saying bring on Cavani. I mean, I know he was the one warmed up, but Ollie's got to look at it tactically and what works best, not just putting all the best players on. He then moved Ronaldo to the left, but it just didn't seem to work. And I just don't know. I seem to think, I mean, everyone knows when McFred plays, they just sit too deep, and in the end, McTominay had to push up, but just too deep, couldn't get out the back. And we saw how many times Varane and Wan-Bissaka were passing between each other, and then they had to switch it long. But that was a problem. The balls weren't good, the passes weren't quick. I mean, this is a problem that, for me, we're going to have.
I mean, in the summer, we bought in Varane. We've looked quite decent defensively. We bought in a set-piece coach. We're there again today. 30% of the goals last season conceded were set pieces. Corner comes in, another set piece, loses the game today. I mean,
exactly.
Common occurrence. I mean, does it make you wonder what is actually going on? I mean, I think it was Cavani's man who got in with the goal again. Is it a concern of yours, or do you feel like defensively we are getting a little bit more on it now?
I honestly don't think so. I think we've put Varane in place of Lindelof, who's a much better player overall, but with defence, it's all about systems. You look at Chelsea, Rudiger, Christensen. A year ago, we were saying they're not great players, but when you put them in a system that works for them and that plays to their strengths, you see, I think 2021 they've got the most clean sheets along with City. I think with 21 or 19 clean sheets, something like that. But it's all about systems for me. And on the set pieces, I thought that Villa were quite dangerous today on set pieces, even before the goal. They were swinging in swingers into the box, trying to pick out De Gea's frailties, punching out. But yeah, I mean, it's our first set piece goal conceded, but honestly, I don't care what set piece coach we have. Every time I see a corner swung, we could have like 8 foot tall players. It's just, yeah, that's another area that's got to be fixed.
Looking ahead now, where does that leave you confidence-wise going forward this season? Out of the Carabao Cup, big game against Villarreal now on Wednesday. Cannot afford another slip like he has today and then Wednesday previous. I mean, you're confident going forward? Can we turn this around?
The thing is, like, when you look at the stadium and you look at the team, Man United, biggest club in the world, and you look at teams like Aston Villa and Villarreal, it should be a comfortable win, but football's all about playing football. It's not about names. You got to earn it. And for me, I mean, look, since the Leipzig, you know what? Since the PSG game when Oli made that mistake with Fred, for me personally, let alone the Leipzig game, I wanted the manager out. I don't think he's good enough. Me personally, I'll bring in Zidane. But with that being said, I would sack him immediately, but he's got 2 games before the international break, and you would think they're winnable games, but I just don't know. We just saw last in the Europa League final, Villarreal sat back and we hardly created a chance. Just that Rashford open goal miss and the Cavani goal. That's all I can remember top of my head.
Yeah. I mean, is there any positives out of that? Who would you give man of the match to for us today? Just to finish on one slight high.
You know what? Surprisingly, Wan-Bissaka and Fred aren't my favourite players. I don't think they're good enough, and I thought they were probably 2 of our best players.
That is interesting.
Wan-Bissaka, strangely on the ball, was all right, and there was one moment where he literally drove through the whole midfield. And he almost got on the edge of the box and took a shot, but
it's crazy. That's why we do these fan vlogs, because I didn't think Bissaka was that good, but that's why we like to get all the opinions on it. Solomon, cheers very much for coming on, mate. Really appreciate your time, pal.